All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel, and welcome back. Indeed, we are back from vacation, meaning we have a full MLB video to dive into in today's video, and we got a bunch of games to go through. I believe it's 17 games with 2 doubleheaders here that we're going to jump into in today's video, like we always do when we go through each and every one of these games. I'm going to give you my lean on the side. I'll give you my lean on the total. We'll talk about any other plays, like player props that we like within the game as well. But as always, guys, keep an eye on the pinned comment for all of my final plays, so I'm actually rolling with myself. If you do want to go ahead and fade me, all those plays will be in the pinned comment. Yesterday, not the best of nights, and I'm not a big woulda, coulda, shoulda guy, right? But David Peralta, bottom of the 8th inning, I believe he's like 0 for 3 or 0 for 2 so far. Singles to right field. Then he goes and scores on that same one, so kind of kicking the you-know-what's late in the game there. But nonetheless, pretty much a 1-1-ish night because we only threw a quarter unit on that under 0.5 hits for plus 145. But you know what? That's in the past. Like I always say, rearview mirrors are smaller than windshields for a reason. Let's look forward. Let's have a good night tonight. Let's go ahead and jump into it. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button, hit that like button as well. We're on a crazy tear in July. I believe we're 20-8 now. And, you know, that loss yesterday, 0.25 units, right, counts as a full loss in the record-wise, but money-wise, we're up even more. So good July so far. So go ahead and hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. And as always, guys, you don't believe me, you can go ahead and fade me. Everything I say, do the opposite. You might make some money here. But let's jump into game number 1. We got St. Louis taking on Kansas City. You got Marsh on the mound for Kansas City and Palante on the mound for St. Louis. It's a tough one because it's the first leg of a doubleheader here, and I hate betting doubleheaders, but I think the only thing I'd really look at here in this spot is maybe St. Louis money line and the under. But again, I don't really love betting, doubleheaders because you never really know how they're going to roll and I guess play out. So I'll lean towards maybe the first play being the Nerfy. That's what we wanted yesterday. Yes, the pitching's a little matched up than what we had yesterday, but maybe a Nerfy in this spot is the main lean in this one. But I don't mind, like I said, the under and maybe St. Louis on the money line. But again, doubleheaders I rarely bet. So keep an eye on the pinned comment to see if we roll with anything. And with doubleheaders, I'll make sure to say like game 1 or game 2 so you guys know specifically what I'm rolling with. But specifically, I'm telling you that I'm not in love with anything in either this game or the later KC St. Louis game. Similar to these next two here, we got the White Sox taking on the Twins, and they play a few hours later as well. So I don't know exactly how much I'm loving the fact that we have this on the board, right? But anyways, in the first matchup, we have Bailey Ober for the Twins going up against Eric Fetty, and Pablo Lopez going up against Drew Thorpe in the second matchup. This might be the place to go with this strategy. In fact, we'll talk about both these games here in the same, clip because I don't think I'm going to have much action on this. But I always tell you guys there's 2 ways to play doubleheaders. You either pick the first game and what you like best in there because I think that that's where the teams, aren't tired or they haven't seen the team, recently, aka earlier that day. Or the second strategy that I don't really mind is just taking the doubleheader and saying, okay, let's bet on the underdog 2 times because it's tough to beat an MLB team twice. These are pros, right? So maybe this is a spot where we look at the White Sox and go White Sox money line, and then the next game White Sox money line, because those odds are fairly good, I guess. And in all honesty, like I think the White Sox could pull one of these out. But again, I hate to start the comeback video of the full game breakdowns on this like low note because we're talking doubleheaders. I don't think any of this makes its way into being a final play. So for this one and the next one, we'll skip. I think I go White Sox money line in both of those just because I think they could pull out one of them. And if I had to pick, I'd probably say game 1 with Fetty on the mound against Ober. I think that Pablo Lopez versus Thorpe is a little bit more of a mismatch. But again, like if you're going to roll with that strategy, it's almost like you're handcuffed to having to take the swing on both of them. In terms of a total for both of them, I would say under, I guess, but you notice these aren't the most confident words coming out of my mouth. I'm just being honest with you guys. So now that we have some of the doubleheader talk under wraps, let's get into some more potential actual plays here as we move ahead. All right, Baltimore taking on Chicago. 2 good pitchers on the mound. You got Corbin Burnes starting for Baltimore, who he's been really good, obviously, this season. He's been really good at home. Going up against Shota Imanaga here for the Cubs, who's also had a very good season. A little bit of a dip when you look at the numbers on the road, which he is on the road this season. But that might be able to be canceled out by the fact that Baltimore is a little bit more middle of the road in the last 30 days against lefties than they have been on the season. That all being said, I think you still lean towards Baltimore. The problem being those odds being crazy juiced at minus 185. But overall, I do still think what a bounce back spot for Baltimore. They lose 9-2 yesterday. Now they have their ace on the mound. This is probably a spot where I think Baltimore comes early and often. Pause. Took me like 3 minutes to get to the pause moment of this video, but I do think that they bounce back pretty good here. So I'm going to lean towards Baltimore, probably on the first 5, either run line or money line, depending on what we can get for odds. In fact, I can check that really quickly now. So for the first 5 here, money line, you're going to be looking at Baltimore minus 180, still kind of out of reach. But for them, minus 0.5, you get them at minus 120. So maybe we go Baltimore first 5 run line in this spot. And I'm actually going to kind of fade my original thought process on this game. I looked at these two guys, and I said, okay, 1, I should look at the Nerfy, and 2, I should consider the under. And honestly, based on just the fact that we saw a 9-2 game yesterday, 1, maybe Chicago's bats are heating up to some degree, and 2, Baltimore's offense is obviously a very good offense regardless of lefty or righty. Yes, they dip a little bit against lefties, but I end up leaning towards the over here in this spot. I think that we could see some late runs, especially. It's not like, Chicago's bullpen is all that great. So if I think, and that's kind of the thought process I went down, if I think Baltimore gets to Imanaga early-ish, right? Like I'm saying 3 runs maybe through the first 5, then I think that they can kind of torture that Cubs bullpen. So I lean towards the over here, and I actually crossed off Nerfy from my list as well. I liked it originally, but I think it could be a slight trap here with the fact that we have 2 great pitchers on the mound. I think we could see a run in the first inning. So I'm not saying Yerfy, right? But I just said, you know what? I don't want to risk it with, this offensive Baltimore and thinking that they get off to a hot start. So no Nerfy for me in this one either. Hey, and real quick, guys, we don't talk about too many player props in today's video, but as always, keep an eye on the pinned comment for any added plays or anything like that. Obviously, we're just kind of getting right back into doing the full game breakdown, so believe it or not, that's a lot more work than just giving, a couple plays here and there. So not as many player props as we usually would talk about in today's video as I'm cutting this up and going over in post. So I just wanted to let you guys know that that is the case, but yeah, keep an eye on the pinned comment if you want any added plays. Not guaranteeing that there is going to be a bunch of player props down there, but I kind of wanted to just call that out. So hopefully you guys don't mind that. But yeah, let's get back to the video here. All right, we got Detroit taking on Cleveland. This was a sweat yesterday. It goes to extras, but Cleveland ultimately cashes for us on the money line here. Today we have on the mound Tanner Beebe for Cleveland, or Bibee, going up against Reese Olson. Both these guys have been pretty good, and specifically Reese Olson's been good at home, and Tanner Beebe's been pretty damn good on the road. So we do have what looks like a decent pitching matchup here. But again, just like yesterday, and though Detroit did score 8 runs yesterday, I still do think you have an offensive a little bit of a discrepancy here, in all honesty. So I'm going to lean towards Cleveland yet again. The price you're getting for them isn't exactly a dream price overall because, you're paying minus 140, and this is probably a closer game than that would indicate. But nonetheless, I really couldn't get to Detroit. One of the main things being is that Beebe's going to give you 50% of his pitches as fastballs. Detroit last 30 days for runs above average against fastballs per 100 fastballs they see, 29th ranked in the MLB. So don't necessarily love to see that. He's also going to give them the slider, which isn't their best pitch either, kind of middle of the pack. So yeah, I'm going to lean towards Cleveland here, but I got to figure out, like yesterday, I really liked that minus 140 price tag because I thought there was a little bit more of a discrepancy, right? With Maeda on the mound, that type of thing. But Reese Olson, I do think is a good pitcher, but Cleveland has the way better bullpen. So I think there's a lot to look at for Cleveland's bullpen's taxed, by the way, but I would say even still, I would give them the nod of being a better bullpen here, even though Detroit's bullpen's less taxed. But nonetheless, I guess we got to look at Cleveland here on the money line. In terms of the total, I wouldn't mind taking it under. I know I'm looking at Cleveland sort of saying their offense should really be the thing that wins them this game. But that being said, they did just go to extras. They could be tired. 9-8 yesterday. And you have, again, 2 good starters on the mound. So if we can get through 5-6 innings of decent pitching where maybe it's like a 3-1 game, I think that this total could stay intact here. Hey, real quick, guys, before we do jump into the rest of the games, I want to talk to you about Sleeper, my favorite player prop app out there. If you have not signed up for Sleeper yet, you are doing yourself a disservice. If you go download this app with the link in the pinned comment, it's also in the description, you're going to get multiple things. First off, you're going to get what I consider the best app out there, so you won't regret the download, right? You'll also get your first deposit matched up to $100. So if you put in $50, they'll match it. You'll now have $100 to play with. You could put in $100, they'll match it. You'll have $200 to play with over there, but you're also going to get this Logan Webb square today, 5 strikeouts. Go ahead and check it out, guys. Again, that link is in the pinned comment. You get the deposit match, you get the Logan Webb promo square today, and it's Wildcard Wednesday, so they're going to have up to, I think it's 3, but at minimum 2 discounted plays coming your way as well. So if you sign up today, deposit match, Logan Webb free square, and 2 more discounted squares over there on Sleeper. So go check it out today, guys. Link in the pinned comment. You can also download and just use the code GUYBOSTON to get all those same rewards. GUYBOSTON. Go check out Sleeper. Seriously, guys, my favorite player prop app out there. You will not regret it. Link in the pinned comment. Let's go ahead and jump back into some of these games, aka the rest of these games. All right, San Diego taking on Seattle. Obviously, we had the Peralta play yesterday. That does not come through. Michael King going up against Bryce Miller here. I would say that to some degree, you know, I would look at the normal, like, numbers, and or at least the names, actually, I should say, and be like, oh, Bryce Miller, you know, pitching advantage for Seattle. But Michael King's been pretty freaking good. In all honesty, 2 flat ERA over his last 5, 2 straight starts of 1 run. That was against Boston and Texas. So I do think that he's off to kind of a good little run here. But Bryce Miller's also been pitching very, very well. So I think I do give credit to both these pitchers and say first 5 under maybe for this. My one concern, there's obviously the Padres bats should be able to get to Miller. And I say that almost reluctantly because I wanted a good spot to be able to take Seattle plus 120 here because, you know, obviously losing yesterday, they kind of looked good. And in a spot in which you can get really good pitching like that for that price, like it makes sense. But the offenses just seem like they're not, you know, not consistent. And obviously Seattle's offense has been consistent, and they scored 8 runs yesterday. Like, to me, it's like, can they do that 2 games in a row? Probably not. So I almost reluctantly lean towards San Diego here, but I still don't mind that under. I don't think they get to him. I know I said they get to Bryce Miller. I don't think they like get to him and go off on him. So I'm gonna lean towards San Diego. Also, Bryce Miller's been pretty on the road this season, so that's a factor. But I think this is like a 4-2 or 5-2 win for San Diego here. Give me them as well as the under. I don't mind the Nerfy at all. That totally could be a final play here because, again, I don't think you have to worry about the Mariners offense scoring a run in the first inning because they've been kind of, you know, tough, especially against righties. And hopefully Bryce Miller one time through the lineup can kind of shut down a good San Diego lineup here against righties. So give me the Nerfy as well as the first 5 under, and then I'll lean towards San Diego, even though I wanted to get to the Padres here. And I do have a player prop in this game. It's going to be J.P. Crawford under 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs. He's hit this in 9 of his last 10 games. I like the spot here against a right-handed pitcher on the season, batting 206 against a righty batting 175. And, you know, Michael King should be able to fare pretty well with his sinker and changeup being 2 of his first 3 pitches. But even if you look at his 4 pitches, sinker, fastball, changeup, and slider, the only pitch that Crawford hits well there is the fastball. Other than that, his K rate and WOBA all get worse against the other 3 pitches. So I think it's a decent spot for Crawford's under 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs. You can get that for -140 over on MGM right now. Kind of trying to monitor the books to see if we can get total bases under 1.5, but I think his baseline is probably going to be 0.5, so I don't necessarily want to tamper or tinker with that. All right, Tampa Bay taking on the Yankees. The Yankees stink as of right now, and they lose yesterday 5-3. Stroman on the mound for them today, going up against Zach Eflin. Stroman's had a tough season. Eflin's been pretty good at home, to give him a little bit of credit here, but am I crazy? In fact, I'll sound the psycho alert alarm. I don't know if it's warranted, but I think I look at the Yankees for plus money in this spot. If they weren't plus money, I don't think that I'd absolutely love them. You know what I mean? Yesterday, I believe they were favorites. That was Rodon versus Pepe Le Pew, and Papa had a better day. Stroman against Tampa Bay. I do think that, you know, these pitching matchups, you could give the argument that Eflin's been better at home than Stroman has been on the season / on the road. I'll give you that. But again, like, I think for whatever reason, I just keep looking at the Yankees and thinking, hey, they're going to step it up. But it's like they don't. But nonetheless, for plus money today, like, how often are we going to get the Yankees for plus money? So I'm sensing or hoping for, I guess, if we make this the final play, some progression out of them. And for what it's worth, Stroman in 49 plate appearances against the current players on this Tampa Bay roster, 185 batting average against, expected batting average against a 223, expected slugging of 337, a WOBA of 282, and an expected WOBA of 296. So Stroman, I am almost thinking, has a decent day today. today. So give me the Yankees for plus money, even with guys missing in their lineup and whatnot. I get it. Give me the Yankees for plus money. The total's sitting at 8. I'd almost want to see if we can get like a Yankees team total over 3.5, something like that. Overall, I believe it's going to be around 4.5 for plus money. So we probably can get 3.5 for right in the minus 130 range. So that may be something that I want to consider as well. But I almost I'm thinking, just go with the Yankees money line and say, all right, Ev, this Yankees team has been so like up and down. Let's not put a bunch of plays in the same game, right? So if I had to rank it, I'm probably banking on Stroman. Cut to this tomorrow where it's black and white, and I'm like, yeah, they hit 8 home runs off him in the first 3 at bats. You do the math. That makes sense. So, I mean, it might be a crazy psycho play, but give me Yankees on the money line. I like Yankees money line as my priority play, and then probably maybe Stroman prop, something like that, because I think he has a good game, and then we'd consider some sort of a total. So sort of at the bottom of the barrel. And by the way, guys, this is not an ad read or anything. Don't get upset, but we have a Discord of nearly 7,500. Yeah, 7,500 people that is completely free to join. There's a link in the description. I'll try to put a link in the pinned comment as well if I remember. But yeah, join the Discord, guys. It's pretty much a big group chat for us all to talk about our plays every single day. You get more updates from me as well in there, as I love conversing with you guys and everything like that. So go ahead and check it out, guys. Again, that link is in the description. It's a completely free Discord to join. You can even just search Guy Boston Sports Server, I believe, on Discord to try and find it. But yeah, go discuss your plays with literally over 7,000 people of it. I think it's 7,500 right now, people. I don't plug the Discord all that much, but it's a great spot and really good community. So go ahead and head over there, guys. Again, that link is going to be in the description. Completely free to join. Not selling my picks. It's not, you don't have to buy to get in, anything like that. Go check it out. That link is in the description if I haven't mentioned that yet. But go check out the Discord. All right, we got the Phils taking on the Dodgers here. Phillies have Chris Sanchez on the mound. He has been electric at home this season, going up against Gavin Stone, who has actually had a decent road success this season. So that's definitely something to note here. I would say Sanchez is coming off maybe his worst start of the season. That was against I think it was the Cubs, I believe, in which he let up a couple home runs, 7 earned runs, only 3 strikeouts. Not his best, but Stone's also coming off of a mass start. So I believe those cancel out. And if we look at this from an offensive perspective, you have 2 really good bats here as well, right? So decent pitching going up against good batting. The totals kind of saying the bats win this one. I don't think so. I think the arms actually win this one. Not like, a crazy runaway like 3-1 type of a game, but I do think that this one can stay under. So my main lean was to be able to trust these pitchers, lean towards the under. I'm not sure we can get the first 5 under at if we just trust these pitchers, but the bullpens are also pretty good on both sides as well. So definitely something to consider there. So yeah, I'm going to lean towards the under in this spot as my main lean. In terms of a money line play, I want to trust Philly. I think they're the more complete team, but it also, I look at this and I'm like, plus 120 for the Dodgers, and this is a different pitching matchup. Wheeler versus Miller yesterday seems like a huge discrepancy, right? This matchup seems a little bit more of a close one. So I think that there is value in taking the Dodgers here for plus money. I will still lean towards the Phillies because I think Sanchez is much better than Gavin Stone, but I don't hate anyone looking at the Dodgers today saying, you know what? If they're going to score some runs and the Phillies score some runs, this gets offensive, then go ahead and give me the Dodgers plus 120. So I don't hate that play, but I can't get myself there. It's minus 142 on the graphic, but you can get Philly from minus 130 right now over on FanDuel, as the latest updated line. All right, Red Sox taking on Oakland. Red Sox are minus 185, and honestly, and beyond favorites on most books here. They win 12-9 yesterday. They were rocking and rolling for a second, and then the A's kind of came back on the mound today for the Red Sox. Nick Pivetta is slated to start up against J.P. Sears. J.P. Sears very good against lefties, which is something that I will note, but the Red Sox have only 4 lefties in their lineup today, so something to I guess, note there in counter to Sears being really, good. I would say the Red Sox money line is still a play here. They're playing some good baseball. They took 2 of 3 against the Yanks, swept Miami, and they're off to a good start against Oakland here. Oakland obviously not playing the best of baseball. You could make the argument that they're playing better baseball than you might think because they are 50-50 in their last 10, but I'm not going to make that argument. Give me the Red Sox here. Probably a first 5 run line. If we were to look at the odds on that one, I could pull it up really quickly. So to get them for the first 5 innings here, minus 0.5, you're going to be looking at minus 135 on Caesars. That's somewhat consumable odds, but overall, this is probably a spot which it's priced out, but that run line could be the spot. The total is way up there at 10, and I totally understand why. I'm not going to be betting this, but I think it might be silly to lean towards the under. Even Pavetta has the ability to kind of get tagged a little bit. We've seen that a few times. San Diego just did it to him. Now, Oakland isn't San Diego, but nonetheless, I do think that JP Sears, coming off of a shutout start in his last start, is probably due for some regression here. So I don't know if I can get to that number at 10, but I think it's a little silly to lean towards the under based on what could happen, in this game. Like, if you took an under and then things played out just like I just said, you'd be like, yeah, I could see that happening. Similar spot here. We have Cincinnati taking on Colorado. Not my favorite matchup. Frankie Montas going up against Kyle Freeland. So this is a spot in which I'd probably lean towards Cincinnati, but even still, I'm not like in love with it. It is in Cincinnati, so that Colorado sort of advantage is gone, and Freeland isn't all that great. So yeah, I'm going to lean that direction, but I think you'd be pretty surprised to find that in the final plays, in all honesty. In terms of a total, it's sitting at 9 right now. I literally see this being like a 5-4 win for the Rockies. So I'll lean for the Reds. So I guess I'll lean towards the over, but almost just kind of like shot in the dark leaning. All right, Mets, Washington. Now, this one I actually deliberated with myself about a few times this morning. So yesterday's game ends up being, I think it was a 7-5 win for the Mets, and Severino on the mound going up against Patrick Corbin. And usually I'm like fade Corbin, right? Severino, on the other hand, isn't necessarily a guy I like to, ride with, but he's been struggling as of late as well. 3.6 ERA in his last 5 games, kind of matching his season 3.8 ERA. I don't know if it's crazy. I don't think I can fully get to Washington on the money line, okay? I wanted to. That's kind of where I saw the offensive numbers, and you know what? Last 30 days here, Washington against righties, pretty good. Mets against lefties, decent as well. I do think the Mets could strike out a decent amount today, as crazy as that might sound, so maybe this is a slight little lean. I don't even know the number at what it's at, but, Patrick Corbin strikeout props, which, again, could be crazy based on whatever the number is. I don't know what the number is, but if it's anywhere around, 3.5, something like that, I actually think it might be something worth considering. But back to what I was saying, I think that there is a little lane here for Washington. We saw that their offense can kind of contribute. Yesterday, they lose 7-5, but they still scored 5 runs. And Quintana pitched a decent game, right? So it's they scored late in the game, and I could see that kind of happening again, where maybe they don't get to Severino too much, but that Mets bullpen isn't all that tremendous. You know what I mean? So almost looking at this saying, wow, is there a lane for Washington? And I think there is. But that being said, it's probably going to be one where I look at Washington on the run line from -110 on MGM right now. You get them at +1.5. Just keep this game as a close game to 1. I think that's going to be the direction I lean in. So I'm almost thinking another 5-4 type of a game, or hell, if they're going to go off and score a bunch of runs, 6-5, that type of thing. So I wanted to get to Washington money line, if I haven't said that a million times in this slot, but I just couldn't totally get there. But I don't mind them +1.5. I just have a weird feeling with the Mets today, which, you know what, maybe my feeling's off. In terms of the total, it's sitting at 9. I'm almost going to kind of correlate these. I'm hoping that it's a game in which Patrick Corbin pitches okay, so I'll lean towards the under, and hoping that this is like a 4-3 game, or at worst a 5-4 where it's a push, but we still catch that +1.5. So keep an eye on the pinned comment to see if we do end up rolling with anything in here. Like I said, it's kind of throwing me off just thinking about, backing Washington against a Mets team that has been obviously a very good and hot team, but I see the path today. I see it, guys. I'm probably stupid, but I see it. All right, next up, it is the second leg of a doubleheader, so we're not going to spend too much time on it. Looks like we got Sonny Gray on the mound taking on Michael Wacha. I'm going to lean towards, I guess, I would also consider a Nerfy in this spot as well, but nothing much past that. Like I said a million times, not loving the idea of pulling the trigger on, doubleheader games, but with Gray and Wacha on the mound, I could see a path to Nerfy, so keep an eye on the pinned comment, see if we roll with that. That's the only really thing I'm considering, and I am considering, I'm not going to lie. I'm just not considering really anything in the money line or total or anything like that. All right, guys, we're about to head into the final 5 games of today's NBA slate. In the final 5, we might do this a little bit more often, give you guys some discounts, but the final 5 tee of the day over on fademe.store. Fademe.store is going to be, it's a good day for a parlay tee. If you use code 5, F-I-V-E, spelling bee champ over here, you're going to get 20% off this tee today. So head over to fademe.store. It comes in black and white. Again, use code 5 because of the final 5 here, F-I-V-E. You got to spell out the number. you can get 20% off of this tee. Go ahead and check it out over on fademe.store. Fademe.store, guys. It's the merch brand we have here on the channel. Go check it out and get a discount on this tee today. Let's go ahead and jump back into the final 5 games of the slate. All right, Milwaukee taking on Pittsburgh. Myers on the mound going against Martin Perez. Martin Perez has not been very good he's not been very good this season, whether it's with injuries or missing time or just not pitching well. But on the road, he's been specifically bad. And Milwaukee got spanked yesterday, 12-2. So I can't help but look at this and say this has to be somewhat of a bounce back spot, right? So I like Milwaukee here on the money line. Perez doesn't have the worst numbers, but not the best numbers against Milwaukee in his career against the guys in this roster. Now, the question will be, like, do we like minus 160 odds for Milwaukee? Probably not, but the good news is you can get them for minus 150 on MGM now. The question becomes also, do we like minus 150 odds for Milwaukee? It's a little juiced to my liking, but they do have what I'd consider the better pitcher, the better offense, and the better bullpen in this spot. So when you say it like that, are you getting the better team for minus 150, which then at that point kind of seems like a good deal? We'll see, guys. I am leaning in that direction, though. In terms of what we got from a total perspective, I like the under in this spot. I don't necessarily think Milwaukee's going to absolutely go off for starters. I think they probably score 4 or 5 runs, but I don't think the Pirates show up as much today. So I'll lean towards the under here in this spot, but I'm much more willing to pull trigger on Milwaukee than I am to pull the trigger on the under. And I have a player prop. It's kind of juiced, but I'm looking at Yasmani Grandal under 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs, minus 160 on MGM. I do like the spot. 71% of games this season, 75% of his games against Milwaukee, 15 of his last 20, 8 of his last 10, 4 of his last 5. Like, it is a good spot trend-wise, but can you pay minus 160? I feel like this entire game is like, are the odds worth it? Because it's obviously a good spot, but are the odds worth it? We'll see. All right, Houston taking on Miami. I can't really make a path to get to Miami here. I mean, Brian Hoeing's on the mound for them, but that's not necessarily, he has good numbers, but we talk about, I guess what he is and being a starter and whatnot, not exactly much to write home about. He just had one good start this season, and it was against the White Sox, and Miami still lost. So I'm not going to, he's only pitched, 3 innings, too, as a starter. So I'm not going to sit here and look at his numbers and be like, oh, he's lighting up the board, like it's good. No. Like, this is obviously a guy that has one start. I think he has 13 appearances this year, and he's been pretty good. But he's not a starter, and he's not a true starter. He's going up against a Houston offense that's pretty good. So I can't get to Miami, meaning I do lean towards Houston, but it would have to be in some sort of a parlay or something like that, because that price tag is a single play, too much for me. And even if you look at Houston here and say, well, let's take them on the run line, minus 120, don't love those odds either. So I'll lean Houston, but it's got to be in some sort of a parlay. In terms of the total, it's sitting at 8 right now. I could see Miami's offense struggling against Framber Valdez, so I'll lean towards the under. Angels taking on the Rangers. Now, I feel like you have 2 teams and 2 pitchers that at any moment could sort of have an issue. You have Griffin Canning pitching for the Angels, going against Michael Lorenzen, who is coming off a really good start. 5 innings pitched, 1 hitter, 4 strikeouts, but 5 walks, surprisingly, against Tampa Bay. But again, it's not like Canning's been much better. So in this spot, I do think I say, well, I'm going to lean towards the over. Even though these offenses have been mediocre to bad overall, I think both of these pitchers have the ability to kind of blow up to some degree, right? So why not bank on one of them at least doing that and making this over at least attainable? So I'll lean over, and I think if I were to just, be a betting man, which I'm not, right? As I do a sports betting show, I would lean towards the Angels to potentially get a plus money cash here. I don't really trust Lorenzen in this spot, and I don't think either one of these bullpens is that much better than the other. So, yeah, I'll lean towards the Angels, who I do think that they have a slightly better offense against righties here. For plus money, sign me up. All right, Diamondbacks taking on the Braves. This is an interesting one to me because I think it's pretty cut and dry that one team has the better offense right now, and that's going to be Arizona against righties. And one team has the better pitcher, and it's Charlie Morton. But I think the discrepancy is a little bit bigger for the offensive part of it. So I like, hopefully, Slade Ciccone, he's on the mound for Arizona, can kind of stick in there and pitch decent baseball, because I think that I like Arizona here on the money line to be able to get to Charlie Morton. I'm not saying they go out there and put up a bunch of runs, but I think if they go out there and can put up, 5 runs, 6 runs maybe, I do think that if Ciccone just pitches well, he can get to this Braves offense and have a decent pitching night. So yeah, I like this spot. Maybe it's a first 5 money line though, because there's a way better bullpen in the Braves side of things than there is on the the Diamondback side of things. So maybe we look at it from a first 5 money line, but either way, give me the underdog Diamondbacks here in this spot. In terms of the total, it's a tough one. Like I said, Arizona 5 runs is kind of where I'm looking. So maybe it's just a Arizona team total over that I look at, because I could see this being a 5-4 game easily. All right, last game of today's slate, and as a reminder, this game does have a promo over on Sleeper. It is the Logan Webb Square. Again, if you heard me say it earlier in the video and you didn't capitalize on it, consider it the second point right now that I'm making. This is such a good deal. You're going to get multiple discounts today, and you're going to get your first deposit match. Head over to Sleeper, link in the pinned comment. In this spot here, I do think that, maybe you can make the argument that San Francisco's kind of overpriced, but I still think that they are by far and away a viable team to bet on today. Logan Webb being the better team, and then you can even make the argument, I'm not saying it's the case, but you can make the argument that the offense is better. I would say they're both in the same ballpark, no pun intended, but they have the better bullpen, even though they don't have a very good bullpen. So give me the Giants here on the money line. Maybe we consider them first 5 run line to get some good odds. In fact, let me give you some odds right here, because now you're just looking at Chris Bassett versus Logan Webb, and I think that that's a pretty clear cut who has the advantage there, right? So first 5 run line, -110 on FanDuel for -0.5 on the first 5. So that could be a consideration as well. In terms of the total, it's all the way down at 7. I don't hate that. I think it's a little too low, so I'll lean over, but this is probably more or less obviously a San Francisco spot for me than considering total overall. But guys, it's going to wrap it up for today's show. If you made it this far into the video, go ahead and comment 31 in the comments. Not to get sappy for a moment, we got a little Ev rant here. I appreciate the hell out of everyone. Like, the one sort of like true grind of this job that I'm doing now, and if you don't know, I went full-time about 4 months ago making videos and stuff. I quit my 9-to-5, quit my desk job, all that stuff. The one sort of thing that's tough, and it really is tough, is going on vacation and still, having to make videos and whatnot. Now, luckily for me, I love what I'm doing. I love the community we're building, so that having to do it isn't as grueling, right? But the fact that you guys rock with me even when we switch up the format on vacation, and there's still people supporting. I know we got the dummies being like, I want the full game breakdown. And it's like, yeah, me too, buddy, but we don't have all day to produce something, right? But overall, the fact that people still rock with me and really do support as we're doing that, I appreciate the hell out of. So coming back from vacation here, and I'm traveling a lot this summer, like a lot. I might be going away this weekend, you know what I mean? Like, we are buzzing around. Paris and I are like, when do we get a free weekend to ourselves? But overall, like, the fact that we can get the support and everything like that, like, it truly does make me feel so amazing when I come back home and I'm like, you know what, we're back in the dojo ready to go, but we didn't miss a beat, you know what I mean? Hopefully that makes sense to you guys. I do appreciate the hell out of the position you guys have put me in, because I always say I'm a dummy with a camera and a microphone and some expensive gear. You guys are the one that keeps this thing going and allows me to grow, because I can't get subscribers without you guys hitting the subscribe button. So appreciate the hell out of you guys, and yeah, rant over. Catch you guys in the next one. All right, peace out.